Hey guys, you're welcome to my channel today. Thank you so much for stopping by. In this video, we'll be sewing this dress that you can see on your screen. In my last tutorial, we drafted out the pattern. So if you've not seen the video, I'm going to leave the link in the comment section. So you go ahead and watch it before you come join us on this particular one. It's going to help you understand better. After drafting out my patterns, I went ahead to use the pattern to cut on the fabric. So I have the yoke, the center front and the side front. So for the yoke, I added half an inch all the way around except the armhole area. Okay, so after doing that, I'm going to take out my pattern paper. So I have two pieces for both sides, two for the right hand side, two for the left hand side. So it's going to serve as both the lining and the main fabric. I'll go ahead and sew just the neckline and I'll turn it to the right side. For the center and the side front, I added half an inch all the way around. I have two pieces for the center front and four pieces for the side front. I'll be using the fabric as the lining. So what I'll do is to place them right side facing right side. As you can see, I'm going to pin the two side fronts to the center front and I'll sew using the half an inch that I left as my stitching allowance. So these are my back piece. I have the yoke and the main bodice. For the yoke, I have 4 pieces, and for the main bodice, I have 4 pieces, since I'll be using the fabric as my lining also. So for the back, I'm going to mark the dart and I'll notch it. So I'll transfer the dart to the main fabric. So I'm going to mark how long the dart is. As you can see, I'll connect into a straight line and I'll take half an inch on both sides. So I'm repeating everything that I did on the pattern paper. Okay, so it's visible for me to take out my darts on the sewing machine. I'll do that for the 4 piece. After doing that, I'll head over to my sewing machine to just stitch the darts in place. For the back yoke, I have 4 pieces, 2 for the main piece and 2 for the lining piece, and I added half an inch all the way around except the armhole area. What I'll do now is to place them right side facing right side, and I'm going to sew just the neckline. So I'm repeating what I did for the front, just the neckline. After that, you're going to turn everything to the right side and you're going to iron. So I've sewn these together. As you're sewing the main piece, make sure you're sewing the lining piece in place. After sewing the center and the side front, this is what it looks like. I've also gone ahead to sew my yoke in place, and this is what I have. So you can decide to join the yoke together first before placing it on the main bodies, but I'm going to overlap them and pin. So what I'll do is to pin this one first of all, right side facing right side. After pinning, I'm going to overlap the second one on it. You can place them side by side, you can overlap, it depends on what you want or how you want it to be. Okay, so after pinning this, I'm going to place this one on it and I'll pin all the way. After doing that, I'm going to place my lining piece on it. So remember to sew your lining piece exactly how you sewed the main fabric. So I'm going to place them right side facing right side. I'll head over to my sewing machine to sew using the half an inch that I left as my stitching allowance on the chest, and I'll also sew the sides. Okay, I'm not sewing the armhole and the base. So I've gone ahead to stitch the dart for the back. After stitching your dart, go ahead and iron everything flat and repeat the same thing for the lining piece. Okay, so after stitching, I've also gone ahead to sew my yoke, and this is what I have. So I'm going to place the yoke right side facing right side on the main fabric. Okay, after placing them, you're going to pin down. After pinning, you're going to place your lining piece on the main fabric and you pin all the way around, and then you're going to head over to your sewing machine to sew. So you sew the yoke on the upper part to the main fabric. You also sew the zipper area closed and you sew the side closed. So the armhole area is still open and the base is still open. After doing that, you are going to notch all the way around. You turn it to the right side and you iron everything in place. After sewing the yoke to the upper bodice, this is what it looks like. You can see how the yoke overlaps on this end. So just go ahead and place it how you want it and then sew. So the next thing I'll do is to bring in my skirts parts. So like I mentioned in the pattern drafting tutorial, we are going to stitch the opening at the front, and you're going to stop at that point where you want your slit to start from. So figure out how long you want the slit to be. The one on the thumbnail is really long, so this is where I want my slit to start from. So I stopped sewing at that point. After sewing the two fabric together, I went ahead to iron. You can see that I ironed everything flat, so I'm going to measure what I have for the slit, which is about 21 inches. Okay, so iron what you sewed so everything will lay flat. So what I'll do now is to sew the upper bodice to the lower bodice. So notch the center and then match them center to center. You're going to sew from one side to the end and from the other side to the end. So for the back, I've also gone ahead to sew the yoke in place, and this is what it looks like. You can see how neat the inside is looking. So the next thing I'll do now is to bring the skirt part. So for the skirt part, I went ahead to close up the zipper allowance all the way to the end because the slit is going to be at the front. The only reason why I added zipper allowance to the back is because of the zipper will be fixing at the back. And remember, the zipper allowance is 1.5 inches, so I sewed in the 1.5 inches all the way to the base of the skirt. I left a little bit of opening on the waist area. So now I'm going to be stitching the upper bodice to the lower bodice. So go ahead and arrange everything in place. You're going to pin and you're going to sew on both sides. After stitching both upper bodice and the lower bodice together, you're going to fix your zipper to the back. So open up the zipper allowance, make it as long as you want it, so it will be comfortable for you to wear your dress, and then you're going to now fix the zipper to the back of your dress. So I've gone ahead to sew the upper bodice and the lower bodice for both front and back. The next thing to do now is to sew this fabric to the slit area of the front. So the wideness of the fabric depends on how wide you want it to be. The wideness of my fabric is about 33 inches. Okay, so you make it as wide as you want it to be depending on how full you want that area to be. So for the length of the fabric, the same measurement I measured, which is 21 inches, that is the length of the opening at the front. That is the length you are going to be needing for the length of the fabric you'll be using for that point. Okay, so I'm going to open up my slit on the wrong side, as you can see. So make sure the fabric is the same length as the opening, your slit opening. Okay, so what I'll do now is to pick one end. If your fabric sheds a lot, hem it all the way around first of all, then pick one end of the fabric and you're going to stitch it to the slit opening. Okay, so remember I ironed my slit allowance after sewing, so iron it so you know where to sew this to, and as you are sewing, make sure you are sewing it to the wrong side. Okay, sew it towards the wrong side so the rough edges is going to be inside. Okay, so you understand what I mean shortly. So the way I'm placing my fabric like this, when you are sewing it, you're making sure that the wrong side is inside, it is not going to show outside. So I'm done sewing, guys. This is what I meant. Okay, the sewing is showing on the inside, not on the outside. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Next thing you do now is to arrange your fabric just like you see me doing. Okay, close up the slits, arrange the fabric so everything is sitting flat. So next thing you're going to do now is to pleat it. Okay, to get that pleated effect at the front, I'm not going to do too much. I'm going to pleat it just once like this, and I'll repeat the same thing on this other side. So it depends on how full you want the pleated to be. If you want it really full, you can pleat it twice, but I just pleated my once, so I'm going to show you guys what I did again. I pleated it like this, so I just folded it inward, and I'll repeat the same thing on this other end. Okay, so this is what I did on both sides. So after doing that, use your pins. Once you are satisfied with your pleating, use your pins to hold everything down and then stitch on it. For me, I'll be using a black fabric to stitch on it because it's going to show on the other side. So use your pins to hold it down. First of all, turn it to the right side and make sure it is exactly what you want. So once I turn mine to the right side, this is what it looks like. So you are going to just stitch on that pleating to hold it down. So use the same thread, the same color of thread as your fabric. So if you turned it to the right side and it's not sitting well, you are going to turn it back to the wrong side and adjust your pleats. Once it's sitting well, just stitch on it. Okay, so next thing I did was to join the shoulder of the front and the back, and now I'm going to stitch my sleeves in place. So notch the center of your sleeves and pin the notched part of the sleeve to the shoulder area, the joining on the shoulder, and you're going to sew. After sewing, you're going to turn your dress to the wrong side and you're going to shape it. Place your bust circumference divided by 2 on the bust area, your waist circumference divided by 2 on the waist area, your hip circumference divided by 2 on the hip area, and sew all the way down. I've gone ahead to do that. So for the sleeves area, I just sewed 5 inches away from the armhole. Don't close the sleeves completely. You can see on the thumbnail that the sleeves is open, so all you have to do is to hem all the way around or weave your sleeves. Okay, so you can see this part. I've gone ahead to stitch it down. So this is what I have. So the last thing you are going to do is to hem the base of your dress. Okay, and yeah, that is all for this tutorial. I hope it was helpful. Don't forget to like this video, leave your questions in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.